Okay, guys, before I begin, I got to give you a fair warning. This story is absolutely true, unfortunately. It is also very long. It goes back to my childhood, but it wasn't as terrifying until very recently. Now I am completely lost in fear. I am an adult man, logical and intelligent, or I'd like to believe so, sitting in my bed, scared shitless right now, goosebumps all over my body and tears of horror in my eyes. I ask for your help in explaining this fucking horrifying thing. Caution. You'll notice that I curse quite a bit. I want you to know that what you read from now on is the situation perceived by my mind. I like to think that I am a very rational person and I haven't been able to explain these occurrences in any natural way. Since my mom got a new job, she started making new friends. It is common in our country that friends come to each other's houses for a cup of coffee, cake, gossip, and whatnot. Few weeks into her new job, my mom made friends with this woman, Rose. She would come maybe twice a week and they'd sit around the coffee table on our balcony and just talk. One day, when I was 17, I was at the balcony with them. I'm not sure why I was there, but knowing me, I probably ran out of internet hours. Back in the day, we bought internet monthly per hour in my country and was bored as fuck. So we're sitting there, they're gossiping about who knows what, and mom gets up to go get some cake she had baked recently. I remained sitting at the table with Rose, and that's when my life changed forever. Rose was a good-looking woman. She was about 5'6", skinny, long black hair, pearly white teeth, attractive woman overall. So anyways, I am sitting there with her, and she turns to me. She has this creepy grin on her face. Bright red lipstick with bright white teeth underneath are just making it look more scary. Her head is moving slowly, almost as if she became a puppet. She says something in the lowest tone possible, certainly not loud enough for me to understand. "Excuse me?" I say, still not being scared, just a bit weirded out. "You ready to go now?" She said this in a voice of a child, I kid you not, like maybe an 8-year-old girl. Grin is still there. She mustered those words through her teeth, never opening the jaw. "What?" I asked, starting to get scared. "You ready?" The same thing again, only this time she pulls out an orange out of her purse. That's it. She just took the orange out and held it there. Didn't offer it, didn't eat it herself, just held the fucking thing. At that point, I was getting scared as fuck. Thankfully, my mom came with the cake. Rose, almost as if someone pushed a button on a remote control, switched back to her normal self, putting the orange back into her purse without my mom noticing. I left the balcony creeped out, but I was 17, so I brushed it off quickly. That night, I had trouble sleeping. My room is on the first floor, and my window is at a maybe 5-foot height, so I kept looking at it, praying not to see some scary monster. I would turn in my bed constantly and look at the window maybe every 5 minutes. It was getting late, and I started to doze off, but decided to look into the window one last time. And there she fucking was, standing in the fucking window. Rose, just standing, looking directly at me. Moonlight was bright enough for me to see, with the same grin on her face. Lipstick was red as ever, and teeth were whiter than ever. I was paralyzed with fear. I often imagine what I do in situations like these, and I always had an escape plan for any hypothetical I threw at myself. But now, when this friend of my mother's was staring at me through my window at 4 a.m., just smiling, I was motionless. My mouth got dry. I got goosebumps. Have them now as I type this, and I swear it became freezing in my room. Probably just the way the body reacts to shock. I finally gathered the courage to get up. I started walking towards the door. Her head was turning with me, slowly, with the grin still there. Again, it was as if she were a puppet. I wanted to scream for my parents, but knowing how tense they are, I decided not to cause panic just yet. There had to be some rational explanation, right? For fuck knows what reason, I decided to walk to the window and ask her what the fuck her problem was. I made 2 slow steps towards it and froze. I froze because she moved. You know what her movement was? Taking the orange out of her purse. Does anyone know what the record time is for having goosebumps? Because they sure as shit aren't going away. Anyways, after being terrified for a minute, I decide to go on. I am a big guy and figured I'd be able to fight her off if push comes to shove. My windows pull up in order to open. I pull it open maybe some 10 inches and stop. She's not moving, just holding the fucking orange and looking at me with the scariest grin you'll ever see. I stand there. She stands there. Then she starts bending, but every move she makes is so slow, so mechanical. She's bending so she can reach the open part of the window. I'm horrified. She pushes her head through it, just enough space for her head to go through. You go with me now? As she's saying that, in her 8-year-old voice, her hand is making its way through the crack, holding an orange. What do I do? What you do? Fucking run. I run out of my room, screaming for my dad. My dad, being a light sleeper, he jumps out of his bed and screams back at me asking what the hell is going on. All I can muster to say is, Rose, window. While Dad is putting his pants on, I run back to my room, wanting Rose to be there so he can see that I am not crazy. You know how in horror movies the person you saw is gone by the time witnesses come? Yeah, well, similar thing happened, except I caught Rose leaving. There is a house some 100 yards away from mine, and it had one of those motion-activated lights. Lots of crime back home. I saw the light turn on, and a glimpse of Rose disappearing behind that house. By the time Dad ran into my room, she was gone. After much talking, he decided that it was just a nightmare and told me to call him only if someone physically comes into my room. You and your fucking imagination, he said, walking away. Needless to say, I got exactly 0 hours of sleep that night. Nothing happened in the next few months. Rose would still come to visit my mom, but I'd make sure I wasn't there. Fuck that. As in every teenager's life, so many things were happening around me, and I forgot about the Rose incident. Then one day I was spending my afternoon browsing internet, years before Reddit, unfortunately. I got pretty hungry, so as any spoiled child, I yelled from my room to see if my mom would come. She didn't. Oh well, tough luck. I have to go to the kitchen and make myself a sandwich. Kitchen in our house is connected to the living room, but you can't see the living room until you're at least in the middle of the kitchen. So I open the kitchen and walk in. I freeze. There it is, right there on the kitchen table. An orange. Immediate thought of that creepy night. Rose is here. I am still motionless in my spot. Few seconds later, I realize how stupid I am for relating a common piece of fruit to a crazy window stalker. So I walk towards the table, wanting to put the orange back in the fruit cabinet. I grab the thing and hear the voice behind me. You will have to come with me soon, you know. Child's voice. It's Rose. I produce some kind of noise resembling scared pig about to get slaughtered. Lightning fast, I turn around and there she is, standing in the middle of the living room. Just standing there. Same grin on her face, same lipstick on her lips, teeth white as ever. Only she started tilting her head to the left a bit, in slow motion. I remember it as if it happened yesterday. Her long black hair falling down her shoulders, white summer dress, bright red shoes to match her lipstick. I forgot to mention that she was very pale. Even in the summer, she seemed to not be friends with the sun. This added to creepiness. There's this woman who already scared the shit out of me once, standing alone in the middle of my living room, pale as a ghost, bright red lipstick and shoes, tilting her head to the side, speaking in child's voice. And fucking then, she takes an orange out of her purse, takes it out slowly and looks at me, as if she wants me to have it. Just as my self-defense mode is about to take over air and I either run away or tackle the crazy bitch, my mom walks in. I know it didn't happen, but it seemed like my mom brought the light into the room. I released a breath of relief. Rose, of course, went back to her normal self. They were about to go for a walk and my mom was getting ready in her room while she was pulling her grudge shit on me. Since my parents wouldn't believe anything I was saying about her, I wasn't sure what to do. Only thing I could do at that age is nothing, I suppose. But I swore I'd punch that woman should she ever come close to me again. A year or so had passed without any incidents, and I was getting ready to go to the United States to study in college. Since I was going to play basketball there, I had to prepare for it. I spent summer away from home, working out in a training camp in a town about 40 miles from my city. During the last night of the camp, the last incident happened. My roommate had left the camp the day before, and I had the room to myself. I was very excited about going to America in a few days and had trouble sleeping. My room had a beautiful balcony. I was on the third floor of a hotel. Since it was warm, I decided to sit in the chair on the balcony for a while. I walked out, sat down, and immediately regretted it. It is really time to come now. I nearly shit myself. I mean, it's been a while since I last heard that voice, but something like that stays with you forever. I turned my head to the right, and Rose was standing on the fence of a balcony of the room next to mine. Mind you, not standing on the balcony or sitting at the table, but standing on the fence. How she was balancing, I don't know. Balcony was at least 50 feet from the ground, and she was holding the orange. Fucking orange. Only this time, orange seemed to have been somewhat rotten, not nearly as bright as the first 3 times. I was scared that she would attempt to jump over to my balcony, as there was only few feet distance between them. I was also scared she'd die and attempt to do so and I'd be blamed somehow. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. It really is time, you know. She said it in that childlike voice, never opening her jaw, her teeth forever clenched together. And lipstick, the color of fresh blood. She seemed even paler this time, and her head was tilted to the left even more. She wore red shoes. "What the fuck do you want from me?" I screamed in desperation, angry that this woman is causing me so much distress, but also hoping that someone would hear me and come witness this crazy bitch's harassment. "I only want you to go where you belong." She said that, and again, never opened her teeth. She only sprang her hand more towards me, almost offering me that semi-rotten orange. "Fuck you, you crazy bitch." I opened the door of my room, and as I was walking in, I heard, "You will come." I slammed the door, deciding this woman was schizophrenic. I would have probably flipped out more, but I was leaving the continent in few days, at which point I was safe. Wrong. I know I have a wall of fucking text, but this is the shortest version of these creepy events. I came to the US and have been here for 7 years now. I forgot about the incidents and went on with my life. Only time I ever thought about Rose was when talking to my mom, who said that since I left, her friendship with the crazy bitch fell apart. I was glad. Last 7 years were the best of my life. I got bachelor's and master's degrees. I got a wonderful girlfriend. You know, life's good, man. But then, but fucking then, I am a big technology geek and I love Apple. Don't shoot me down for this, please. So it was last Friday, September 21st, the release of iPhone 5. I am in front of the store with about 50 other people. I am maybe 15th in line. It's raining, it's cold. I've been there for about 4 hours now. Doors finally open. We start moving in slowly. I look across the street and instantly stop. People run into my back. I can hear complaining. But it's all bouncing off of me. Across the street, I see a woman in a white dress, head tilted, holding something orangish, grin on her face. Lipstick so bright red I can see it from across the street. I can't move. Someone from far in the back pushes, causing me to fall. While I gather myself, I see the woman disappearing behind the corner. I remain sitting on the ground. It was Rose. It was her, I swear. I sit there for a few minutes, get myself together, and walk in the store. No phones left. I decide to walk across the street, and there it was. At the place where she was standing now, only sits a mushed, terribly rotten orange. That's it, just a rotten orange. I started crying, all memories came back. I thought that my whole life would constitute of being stalked by some maniac. And how did she find me anyways? I spent next few hours in a nearby coffee shop, drinking tea and reasoning how this could be logically possible. I kept no secret from my friends and family about my whereabouts. Did she stalk my Facebook? My friends? Did she travel here to harm me? What the fuck is her deal? Answering no questions I asked myself, I went home, deciding to keep it all to myself. My girlfriend noticed something was wrong with me for the next few days, but didn't push it. I figured it was all a fluke. My mind playing tricks because I was up all night before that morning. Plus it was raining. How could I see that well? And that orange, well, that was just a coincidence. I convinced myself that I was just making it all up. So today a letter came. I get a lot of mail, so it's not that out of the ordinary. But there was this envelope with no return address. I opened it and was immediately shocked. I was holding a Polaroid picture. In it, there was me standing in line in front of the store last Friday. Only the picture was taken by a person behind me. It was taken at the moment I was looking across the street. I can tell because I could see the horror on my face. On the back of the photo, there were few words written with a sack pen. You come with me now. I dropped the picture and started crying like a baby, like really crying my ass off. My girlfriend found me in our room, curled up on bed, still crying. She was terrified that maybe someone close to us had died, as she's never seen me let a single tear before. I had to tell her. I started telling her the story, leaving most details out so I can get to the point quicker. As I was talking, she was getting more and more pale. She never said a word. I finished my story and she was pale as ghost, not moving. Then she asked a fucking question that honestly caused me to almost faint. She said, this woman, did she happen to, hold an orange? I froze. She started crying like I've never seen her cry before. We had a long talk that night, and her story would require another wall of text. Honestly, I'm fucking tired from typing this much, and I'm pretty sure nobody will be willing to read this much. I am also lost, terrified, confused. But if someone does read this, I'll write the rest. I'll write in hope that someone can offer a solution, and an answer maybe. Currently, we are both scared as fuck, not knowing what to do next. Police is an option, but what do we tell them? I don't know, man. I am fucking scared for mine and her well-being. Help me. Update. Well, guys, shit. Don't know what to tell you. It happened again today, except I didn't see her. Let me give you a quick rundown of events. 9:00 a.m., I go to the local police station with my girlfriend. We tell them all that we know and show them the Polaroid. Although quite friendly, they say they really can't do much other than maybe file a restraining order against the person who probably, their words, isn't even in the country. They think I mistook her for someone else. In the picture, well, they said it was probably a prank. They did take the photo and open a file about it, just in case it escalates. It did. 1 p.m., we arrived in town where I saw her. Went to the location, there was nothing there. Don't know what the hell I expected anyways. We stayed there for a while, 6:30 p.m. Arriving home. Front door of the house is open, but this is not uncommon as we live with 5 other roommates. We go upstairs to our room. Our room is open. That is unheard of as we always make sure we lock it. And our landlord is the only other person who has the key. I yell asking if someone is there. No response. Also, no roommates are in the house, it seems. We walk in, we freeze. Our room is decently small, constitutes of two queen-size beds put together and a little dresser, and that's about it. So what did we see? Pillows are all on our dresser, towels on the bed. Our sheet is taken off the bed and put on the floor. It is spread out. In the center of it is an orange cut in two halves with a little peel next to it. My laptop is facing the door and is playing the same song on repeat. My laptop was turned off before I left and was also password protected. The song playing is my favorite from childhood, Africa by Toto. My desktop background was changed to one picture from my childhood that I didn't even have in the computer. 7 Okpim. We call the police. They arrive 15 minutes later. I take about 5 pics of the mess just before they come. They say they'll start an investigation, but claim that it's still not serious enough for fingerprints and stuff. 8:30 p.m. They leave and tell us to call should anything happen again, and also advise us to stay with friends if possible. We spent next few hours just talking, man, trying to figure it out. We're exhausted both mentally and physically. I am going to Skype with my mom tomorrow and see if she knows anything. I will type up my GF's story tonight, but may post it in the morning if I don't finish it all in time. I will include photos I took. I promise you that much. Holy fuck. This shit is happening to me. Okay, guys, I realize I am a bit late with my girlfriend's story, but when you read my latest update, you'll see that I was quite consumed with what was happening to us. Nothing happened since the incident last night. Police called to check in with us this morning. They still have no clue what is going on, really. So her story, let me begin by telling you a bit about us. As I said before, I was born in Bosnia, moved to a nearby country in Balkans where I grew up. I came to the US over 6 years ago. My girlfriend was born in India, grew up in Kenya until she was 3 when she moved to Canada. I met her a little over a year ago and we've been together since. So my girl, let's call her Lila, did have few encounters with Rose. First one that she remembers was on the plane. She was a flight attendant for Air Canada for several years. One day, about 6 years ago, she was flying her regular flight, but she can't remember what destination it was. It lasted maybe 2 hours. Once they took off and seatbelt signs went away, she got up to serve complimentary drinks. Halfway through her section, she met Rose. She didn't know it at the time, of course. She said that something was terribly off about the woman. She had this creepy grin on her face, was really pale, and kept staring at her. When Lila offered her a drink and some snacks, she got no answer, only a wider and creepier fucking smile. Then Rose spoke. "I have something for you," she said in a voice that definitely wasn't natural for a woman her age. Her voice belonged more to a teenager than an adult. There was something playful but terrifying in it. Now, Lila has seen some shit while flying, so she wasn't taken back by this interaction. "Yeah, what would that be, ma'am?" "Don't patronize me, you bitch." She said that fast. Like really fast. Her jaw was closed while saying that. Then she started grinding her teeth, never letting go of that fucking smile. This was a red flag for Lila. When passengers get aggressive, attendants walk away unless there is physical contact. "All right, well, you have a pleasant rest of the flight, ma'am, okay? I have this for you." She whispered it, taking an orange from behind her back, never moving a muscle on her face. Still a teenage voice, like when a 12-year-old hits puberty kind of voice. "No thanks." Lila decided to call it a day with the crazy cunt and walk away. "Oh, but you should, or one day, one day." And that's that. Lila gave her the fuck off look and walked away. Lady never bothered her again during that flight. Lila went home a few days later and didn't think much of what had happened. When her mom asked her how her flight was, Lila smiled and said, "Good, other than one really crazy lady." Mom wanted to hear more, So Lila started telling her about what happened. By the time she said the word orange, her mom started crying. Lila was in shock. It was story time. Well, apparently when my girlfriend was a baby in Kenya, she had woken her parents up a few times with loud crying. When they'd walk into her room, she'd have an orange next to her in her crib. Everything in the house would be locked, though. Windows, doors, everything. It got to the point where her parents moved the crib into their room and installed security cameras. Well, on Lila's third birthday that morning, when they woke up, they saw an orange laying on Lila's chest. They were absolutely taken over by horror. They called the police. Police came and looked over the camera footage. Cameras clearly showed a woman opening the front door that was locked, walking into their room, placing an orange on Lila and just standing there for like an hour, just standing there with her head tilted to the left, looking at her. By this point, it is unnecessary to say that Lila was completely horrified. Her mom wasn't doing much better either. Anyways, to keep the story going, her parents didn't know what to do. Police couldn't find the mysterious woman, and no security measure other than 24/7 bodyguards, which they couldn't afford, was enough. Some of their family was already in Canada and were pressuring them to move. So this incident was a final push. They moved and left this creature with an orange behind. Until that day, on that flight, Lila was completely unable to do anything for the next few days after that conversation. She didn't eat much, didn't communicate with anyone. After a while, she got better. There was no sign of further horror, so she started believing it was all a fucked up coincidence. And she went on with her life. She hasn't seen Rose in years after that. Last time she encountered Rose was 1 month before Lila, met me. Lila did many transatlantic flights. She loved those. Long travels, decent money, seeing the world. She had it all. 1 month before we met, she was coming back from a Hong Kong trip. She flew to Toronto, I believe. She's asleep, and I don't remember exactly. I believe it was Toronto, though. Crew had a nice hotel. Everyone had their own room. Lila was on the third floor. She loved drinking at that time and got pretty drunk that night. She passed out at about 1:00 a.m. At around 4 a.m., she heard a knock on the door. Then another one, and then another one. But they weren't loud or fast knocks. No, they were slow and silent, yet loud enough to wake her drunk ass up. She rolled out of bed thinking it was one of her equally drunk crew members. Not thinking much, she opened the door and there she stood. Lila said that lights in her room were off, but TV was on. Light from the screen was shining on Rose's face, shining on the grin, shining on the pearly white teeth, bright red lipstick, and a white face paired up with tilted head. You know how when you're drunk and some scary shit, accident, cops, etc., happens and you sober the fuck up immediately? Yeah, she just let out this helpless sound of horror. They both stood there. Rose started rocking back and forth. Every time she'd rock back, she'd reveal red shoes hidden underneath her white dress. Her teeth were grinding. Then she pulled out an orange. What do you want from me? Lila begged. Rose kept rocking with a smile. Please, just leave me alone. I don't have anything. You take it. You take it now. He will too. She said that with that same teenager voice, only a little more playful tone was used this time, like a happy-ish child. Don't know if it was her defense mechanism activating, but Lila took the fucking orange and threw it over Rose's head and screamed, "Get the fuck out of here and take this shit with you, you freak!" That was the first time either of us saw Rose lose her smile. White teeth disappeared underneath the thick red lips. Head went back from a gentle tilt into its natural position. "I will see you too soon." She said it in adult voice, and this voice was scarier than the teenager one. Lila says it's because it sounded real, like a conscious, normal person making a threat. Of course, at that time, Lila didn't know me and had no idea who you two were. She assumed it'd be her mom. That brings us to today. Yeah, if you read the update from my previous story, you saw that our room was broken into by Rose. Wow, logical assumption. Pictures of the break-in were taken before police came. They will be up on here today. Some stuff in our room was moved around. We are scared as fuck, clueless as to what's going on. I will be Skyping with my mom soon to see if she has any answers. Lila will talk to her mom as well. I am personally just shocked at these developments. I never believed anything like this was even possible. Quite honestly, if one of you wrote this story here, I wouldn't believe shit you said, and I can't blame you if you don't believe me. But if you have any idea about what this might be, I'm all ears. I assume it's some sort of a cult. But the only thing that fucks with my head is the fact that Rose knew my girlfriend before I did. Everything so far could have been explained in a logical way, but this took it to a super fucking natural level. Were they putting an effort into getting us together? How'd they do that? And more importantly, why? For what possible benefit? Fuck this, man. Fuck this. Recap of the update. Well, guys, shit, don't know what to tell you. It happened again today. Except I didn't see her. Let me give you a quick rundown of events. It's got 9 a.m. I go to the local police station with my GF. We tell them all we know and show Polaroid. Although quite friendly, they say they really can't do much other than maybe file a restraining order against the person who probably, their words, isn't even in the country. They think I mistook her for someone else in Polaroid. Well, they said it was probably a prank. They did take the photo and open a file about it, just in case it escalates. It did. 1 p.m. We arrived in town where I saw her, went to the locations. There was nothing there. Don't know what the hell I expected anyways. We stayed there for a while. 6:30 p.m. Arriving home. Front door of the house is open, but this is not uncommon as we live with 5 other roommates. We go upstairs to our room. Our room is open. That is unheard of as we always make sure we lock it. And our landlord is the only other person who has the key. I yell asking if someone is there. No response. Also, no roommates in the house, it seems. We walk in. We freeze. Our room is decently small, constitutes of 2 queen-size beds put together and a little dresser, and that's about it. So what did we see? Pillows are all on our dresser, towels on the bed. Our sheet is taken off the bed and put on the floor. It is spread. In the center of it is an orange cut in 2 halves with a little peel next to it. My laptop is facing the door and is playing the same song on repeat. My laptop was turned off before I left and was also password protected. Song is my favorite from childhood, Africa by Toto. My desktop background was changed to one picture from my childhood that I didn't even have in the computer. 7 income. We call the police. They arrive 15 minutes later. I take about 5 pics of the mess just before they come. They say they'll start an investigation, but claim it's still not serious enough for fingerprints and stuff. 8:30 p.m. They leave and tell us to call should anything happen. Also advised to stay with friends if possible. We spent next few hours just talking, man, trying to figure it out. We're exhausted both mentally and physically. I'm going to Skype with my mom tomorrow and see if she knows anything. I will type up my GF story tonight, but may post it in the morning if I don't finish it all in time. I will include photos I took. I promise you that much. Holy fuck, this shit is happening to me. Hey guys, I promise pictures and updates, so here we go. I will also respond to some questions. So first things first, let me bring you up to speed. We have not had any encounters with Rose since last night's break-in. Police called this morning to check on us and told us to stay careful and call should anything happen. I talked to my mother on Skype and it was, well, disappointing. She only knew Rose as a normal person. She actually doesn't even remember Rose asking about me much. She never got the hint that Rose may be a crazy cunt. My parents are now really worried. Not sure if they think I'm going to crazy or they are legitimately afraid for my well-being. Lila hasn't gotten a hold of her mom at this point. Her mom is in England. We've been talking a lot. We decided that it must be some cult in action since neither of us are believers in the spiritual side. It is hard to explain how Rose would know us both before we met each other. I got tons of PMs asking me about how we met. That's a good question, and I forgot to include that part in my story. Basically, last summer, I was out with my best friend in a club. Club closes at 1 p.m. and then everyone gets in front of it and sort of chills for a while. We were standing outside when this older man came up to us. He started openly hitting on me in a homosexual way. I am far from a homophobe, but this man was persistent. Then I heard Lila's voice. "Hey, baby, what are you doing?" I turned around and saw her sitting at the nearby bench with two of her girlfriends. I realized she was talking to Bipwas. The look on her face told me everything. She was saving me from the man. I said, "Excuse me, my girlfriend is waiting," and walked away and sat with Lila. He came after me. Lila and I had an immediate chemistry. Man didn't believe us that we were together and kept asking questions about us. But Lila and I played off each other so well that he finally decided we were telling the truth and left. We kissed that night. She was visiting that town for only 2 days, but promised to come back and see me, and she did 2 weeks later. We've been together since. I realized that some may suggest that the man was part of the cult and tried to force us onto each other, but it still took free will from both of us to do what we did, so I doubt the possibility of that conspiracy. Lila is in a bad mental shape right now. She is terrified and jumps on every little noise. I don't know how to help. I am scared myself, but am trying to appear strong for her. Some of you have suggested that this story is fake. I will say this, I am fully aware of how incredible this all sounds, and this is exactly why I posted it here. Many of you helped with advice and kind words, and I thank you guys. Others that don't believe me, you can view the story as a piece of shitty fiction. I never said it'd be good, just true. If you guys feel that the story of my baptism may have something to do with this, I will find time to write it. Although I have to note, you are an impatient bunch. Please realize that we are going through a lot right now. Thanks. Some updates regarding the pictures I am posting here. 8. So I snapped a few pics before the police came. Also, after they left the orange, I noticed something engraved written on the peel. I took a photo of that too. Bottom word I was able to decipher. It says Otvorii, which means open in my language. Top word, I can't tell what it is. I don't know what to do with the orange. I still have it. We'll throw it out soon. If anyone can make any sense out of this, I'd appreciate any help at this point. Polaroid picture is at the police station, but the cop I know told me that if nothing happens within few days, I'd be able to at least come and make a copy of it if I really wanted to. That's all for now. Edit. I blurred out part of the last image to protect my privacy. It was revealing my name. Kind Redditor discovered it and messaged me. So, here's another update. Also, do I update on these posts or create new ones? I told my mother what's going on and she asked to see the picture. She recognized it. The woman in the picture is her friend from when I was a child, and the kid in the picture is her son. She doesn't know where the pic came from or that it was ever taken for that matter. My mom said she spoke to my grandma, who still lives in Bosnia, and my grandma seems to know something. I will have to call her tomorrow. Later on, I will upload the desktop pic that was put on my laptop. Still in search of original files and/or hidden folders. Hey guys, after many PMs asking for an update, I decided to bring you up to speed on what's going on. But first, here, http://i.mgur.com, apin.png, is the screenshot of the desktop picture that Rose, her cult, put on my laptop. I haven't been able to find the original photo or any kind of a hidden file. Woman on the left is my mother holding me, and woman on the right is her friend holding my childhood friend. We do not know who the child on the left or woman way in the back are. None of them remember this picture ever being taken. So after I told my mom what was going on, she talked to Y Grandma. Grandma didn't tell her much, but my mom had a feeling that she got upset after hearing what was happening. I decided to call my grandma, and after much begging, I got this story out of her. My grandma was born in Croatia but grew up in Bosnia. She was the kind of a child who'd spend every waking hour outside playing, exploring, etc. Her favorite play spot was down by the river not too far from where she lived. She'd often go there with her friends, but on this particular day, none of her friends came along. She went there anyways. She was doing her traditional build a fortress in the sand thing when she heard someone calling. She looked to the road nearby, the only place where anyone could come from. There was only one path to the beach. But nobody was there. She shrugged it off and kept playing. She heard the call again. Dana. She looked around. Nothing. Dana. She jumped, terrified, and ran to the road to see what in the fuck was going on. But nobody was there. She thought one of her friends was fucking with her and decided to turn around and go back to the fortress. Then she saw him. It was a man of above average height, maybe 6'4", dressed in the suit and one of those hats that gentlemen wore in 30s. He had a dark black suit on with white dress shirt underneath and a black tie, holding a cane. Thing is, he was standing in the water knee-deep, in a suit that probably cost arm and a leg at that time. She was taken aback, but as any curious kid, she decided to check what was going on. She walked up to the border where waves were ending. He was still standing in the water. "Yes, mister," she asked politely. "I got something for you." "Yay, what's that?" Well, as predictable as the story may be getting, it is unfortunately fucking true. It was an orange. My grandma grew up in wealthy-ish family, and even in the tough economic times, she had an abundance of fruit. So the orange wasn't causing a wow factor in her. Uh, thanks, mister, but I just had lunch. You can give it to someone else. No, Dana, this one is specially for you." He tilted his head to the side, and for a second she thought his hat would fall into the river. It didn't. He still held an orange in his other hand, offering it. "But I don't want it. You take it, and you take it now." My grandma's been through a lot of shit. World War II and Bosnian War. She's seen shit, man. But she said she's never seen something as scary as that man's face that day. She was a child and therefore very impressionable with vivid imagination. But she swears that when he said that, his eyes, the white part, not the pupils, got much darker and she could see the anger on his face, although he had somewhat of a grin on. She started running away. She stopped and turned around to look if he was chasing her. He was just standing there looking after her. She said she could see the darkness going away from his eyes. He put the orange back into his pocket, turned to the side, and started walking away. Through the fucking river, like step by step, with his cane, just walking like he was on the street. My grandma was scared for a while, but after a few years, he was just a memory that was rarely recalled. My grandma gave birth to my mom in '52. It was a happy day because my mom was her first child. Birth went fairly easily, but she was kept in the hospital for a few days. Last night before she was released, the man in the black suit came back, almost 20 years later. She was sleeping. She had a room to herself. She woke up because light came on in her room. In scary movies, you hear the noise, but there is nobody there. Then suddenly they jump you from behind. Yeah, that didn't happen. She opened her eyes and he was just standing there in the middle of the room. The same man, same suit, same hat, not a day older than how he looked 20 years ago, orange in his hand. "You did good." "What? What do you want from me?" "You brought her." "Who? What do you want?" You only now have to take this and it will all be over. He was showing an orange, smiling. It wasn't a crazy grin, just an almost friendly smile. I don't want anything from you. Leave or I'll scream. Well, that's when he pulled the rose shit. He tilted his head to the side, put the scariest grin on his face, revealing the whitest teeth you'll ever see. He started speaking in the voice of a 10, 12-year-old child. But Dana, you don't know. Get out. He will take it. As he said that with his child voice, he lost the grin, put his head back in normal position, turned around and walked away. Before he got out of the room, he turned the light off. She never told anyone about this man until I pulled it out of her. It's been little more than 30 years since then, until she saw him one last time. It was war in Bosnia, country demolished by politician assholes who just wanted money. You know how wars work. Anyways, times were tough. Food supply was extremely limited. My grandma and grandpa would go days without eating. They'd hunt pigeons on the balcony and shit. That bad. But then an orange started appearing on their doorstep every day. One orange in the center of the welcome rug. She remembers how bright it was compared to the grayness surrounding them. She'd throw every single one of those fuckers out. My grandpa was confused as to why she'd throw away perfectly good food in times like these, but she wouldn't tell him. Until they showed up, yes, they. The man in black and, well, Rose. It was 93. They were bombing the shit out of their town that day, and nobody would even so much as stick their head through the window, let alone walk out. But my grandparents heard knocking. They thought someone had finally come to take care of them. Knowing that intruder would enter anyways if they really wanted to, they opened. On their left, the same man was standing. Same black suit, same hat, same cane, same age. More than 50 years later. Next to him was a woman in red shoes, white dress, long black hair, extremely pale skin color, and a lipstick so bright it would make you nostalgic for the grayness of wartime. She had her head tilted too, smiling ear to ear. Hello, Dana. She spoke in a voice my grandma says could only belong to a very, very young girl. What the fuck is this? My grandpa asked. Immediately, both of these peoples, I still call them people faces, lost grins and looked at my grandpa. You may want to be silent, Rose spoke in her original adult voice, or what my grandma assumes would be her natural voice. My grandpa had been shot at, tortured, starved, but he never felt the fear like that. He lost his voice and shut the hell up. Their grins returned, head tilted, teeth popped out shiny as ever. Where is he? Rose asked her in her childish version of a voice. Who? What do you want from us? We have nothing. Don't do this. Just tell us where. Seemed like Rose was losing patience. But who? Your grandson. Her eyes pierced my grandma's soul. She felt blood freeze in her veins. He is not here. He is in Montenegro. She thought that whoever these people are, they'd give up once they found that her grandson, presumably me, has moved away hundreds of miles away. They produced even wider smiles if that was actually possible. They turned around almost synchronized and walked away. My grandparent watched them leave over the balcony. Bullets were flying around, bombs falling everywhere, and they were just walking down the street with no fucks given. Heads still tilted, they could see them smiling. So I'll be the first to call it. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. This is becoming fairy tale. This ain't happening, man. Yay, I'm with you. Had I read it here or anywhere else, I'd enjoy the story, then tell OP to go fuck himself for trying to convince me this shit is real. But this shit is real. I have no logical explanation for it. Are they a cult? Maybe. Why don't they age? Why are they everywhere? Why are they following everyone I know? Fuck me if I know. I have become almost indifferent to what's going on to me. Since my first story, so much shit happened / was discovered that I became dulled down to the point of almost not giving a fuck. Put that attitude together with the fact that nothing happened until yesterday to us since Rose's break-in. And you have one dude who doesn't give a shit anymore. I suppose everyone reaches that point at some time. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Anyways, yesterday, Wednesday, I had a day off from work. My girlfriend decided that she wanted to get away from everything for a little while. She went to her friend's house in our town for a few days. I like to alleviate my stress by working out. I had a day off and wanted to do a bit more than just lift weights. So I decided to go on a long bike ride, 50 miles to the next city. It was really cloudy in the morning, so I decided to take nothing with me but a couple of bucks for the bus ride back. Also, AT&T sent me iPhone 5, and I definitely did not want to take that if it was going to rain. So I went on the bike trip with nothing but my trek and few dollars. About 30 miles into the trip, I got on this bike trail that led almost to the end of my destination. It is a 22-mile trail. I did this trip once in July, and the place was packed. Hundreds of fucking cyclists everywhere. Could barely move. This time, the trail looked deserted. Nobody on it, and weather became shittier and shittier. Heavy fog set in. I almost felt as if I were in a cloud. It was so moist, but without the actual rain. My shirt was dripping with water, and visibility was shit, but I decided to keep going. Few miles into the trail, I started noticing benches on the side, something I haven't noticed before. Cool idea since the road is so long. I guess you need a break sometimes. I kept riding, though. Visibility was 15 feet at best. About 7 miles into the track, I thought I heard laughing. I squeezed my brakes and slid for a few feet. I listened. Nothing. Well, I know what you think. And you're right. I'm a fucking idiot. Going for a long trip on a secluded track when I have some crazy cunt following me. Plot of a cliche horror movie, I know. And I regret doing what I did. But my reasoning was that nobody ever physically attacked me. So the worst case scenario would be, I am offered another fucking orange. I got back on the bike, did few pedal strokes, and heard the laughing again. It was coming from ahead. Fuck it, I'm biking through. Fog decided to have mercy on me and increase the area visibility to about 25 feet. That's when I saw someone sitting on the bench ahead. I lied to myself saying that it's normal for a biker to sit on the side and rest. That's what it is probably, right? You and I both know that no, it wasn't a biker sitting there. It was a man. He wore a black suit. No hat or cane though, so I felt a little better. I switched my shit into the highest gear and started pedaling Armstrong style. As I was passing him, he started laughing again. There was nothing around him. No newspapers, no phone, no bike. Just sitting, hands on his knees, not even looking at me, just looking ahead. And just as I am passing, this fucker starts laughing hysterically. I got fucking scared. It was then that I noticed an orange right next to him on the bench. Then he looked straight at me. Rose encounters were scary as hell, but this man was on a whole new level. I just kept pedaling. I heard the laugh one more time as I was riding away from him. Next 12 miles or so took me about 45 minutes. In other words, I wasn't slowing down. I got to the town where I wanted to catch a bus and another shock was waiting for me. I arrived at the bus station at 4:10 p.m. Last bus was leaving at 4:30. The way these schedules work, this bus would take me to a small town at the beginning of that trail, where I'd catch another bus to home. Well, I come at the bus station and I see that bus only has 2 bike racks and they're both taken. Yep, let's cut the artistic description shit and jump to the point. Driver said it was against the rules to put a bike inside the bus. It was the last bus, and if I wanted to go back home that night, I'd have to bike to the other town and arrive before 7:00 p.m. when the last bus from my place leaves. I had 2.5 hours to do 20 miles. Either that or spend the night there. I only had $10 on me, so, yay, bike back, you stupid shit. And good luck with that laughing man on the trail. I wish I could tell you that I persuaded the driver to let me in. I wish I stayed there that night. Could have maybe tried to pay for the hotel by giving them my credit card number. Could have tried. No, I decided to bike, and I got what I deserved. 2 miles into the trail, I saw something on the ground about 20 feet ahead. I remember thinking how clean they kept this track. So it was strange that the trash would be just obviously laying around. I slowed down. It was a G.I. Joe action soldier toy. Looked pretty new. Oh well, some kid dropped it while biking with his family. Keep pedaling, son. A mile later, another object ahead. Basketball. I stop, pick it up, drop it, eyes full of tears. When I was in about 8th grade, there was a basketball 3-on-3 tournament in my school. I was so fucking excited for that shit, man. I gathered the best team I could find. If we'd win, we'd go to an even bigger tournament and maybe win some money. We arrived at the court and realized that only 2 teams signed up in our age category. We were full of joy because that meant that even if we lost, we'd win some kind of award. We lost, well, actually got destroyed by the other kids. But since we ended in 2nd place, we got a $50 gift card each for a store equivalent to a Foot Locker here. We all ran to that place. My friends all picked shoes and jerseys, but I picked this basketball. It was so unique. It was painted like a chessboard, 64 squares, 32 black and 32 white. They called me crazy for spending my gift card on it, but I loved it. At least for a few days until I realized that the colors on it give me headache when it spun and that designers of this ball were stupid assholes. So I threw it in the river when I crossed one of the bridges near my house. And now I was holding that same ball 5,000 miles away from home, in the middle of the woods on some bike trail that only I knew I'd be crossing that day. I froze, dropped the ball, and just wanted to yell. You get mad at some point, you get mad that your life isn't as normal as other people's. Why can't I worry about shit like whether my NFL team is going to go to playoffs or whether I'm going to get a raise? Why do I have to go through this? What did I do? Well, I could contemplate about life, or I could get the fuck out of these woods, try to catch that bus. I chose the latter. So I kept biking carefully. After a few miles, another thing, a page out of newspaper. It got wet from a light drizzle. I picked it up. It was an article about me. When I just came to the U.S., the school I played ball for published an article about my life in their paper. There it was, in my hands. I dropped that shit and decided not to stop anymore. I biked by a bike I owned when I was living in Bosnia. I biked by my old Iron Maiden shirt and by a picture of my family in a broken frame. I biked by a dead cat that was identical to the cat I had when I was 15. The faster I biked, the items from my life became more and more common on the road. At this point, my story is becoming more unbelievable than any cheesy movie you've seen. Feel free to express all your disbelief, call me a liar. I would. I would call bullshit 3 stories ago. I wish I was fucking with y'all. I wish I was doing this for entertainment. I am doing this to get help, advice, to set my mind at ease, at least for a minute. So I am flying down the trail. About 2 more miles and I am out of these woods of hell. It's getting dark and more foggy. And then, I hear the laugh. Only this time it is a child, or not. I slow down, scared of what's coming. I see a silhouette sitting on the bench ahead. The same bench where that man was, laughing again. Not the kind where some criminal mastermind laughs at the evilness of his plan. Playful laugh, I guess you can call it giggle. Only it is not a child. It is a woman sitting there. She is dressed in white. It is Rose. I pressed my brakes so hard I was surprised I didn't fly over the wheel. She was sitting there, legs crossed, looking straight ahead of her, not at me, and laughing. Then she turned towards me, tilted her head, smiled with the many times described grin, and said, "Sit." This was the first time I got scared to the point that my extremities gave up for a second. Other encounters with her, I was in my home, or at least in somewhat of a safe place. This, this was in the woods, and as I typed this, I realized even more how fucking stupid it was of me to embark on this trip at a time like this. Maybe subconsciously I wanted to meet her again. Meet her and bring an end to it. I regained some courage and got off the bike. I put the bike down slowly and noticed a photo of me and my first girlfriend laying on the road. It was wet and looked burnt. Fuck if I'm stopping now. I'm gonna talk to her. I walked over. She was still smiling, not moving at all. Sit, in my language, in child's voice. No. You've been a very stubborn boy, Milos. I am not a boy. I don't want to have anything with you people. Why can't you leave me the fuck alone? What do you want from me? It felt liberating to be able to express all of the frustration and scream at the cunt that caused my girlfriend and me so much pain. No need to yell, Milos. No, there is a need to yell. You're fucking with my life. I only want you to come with me. First tell me what you want, and then I'll decide. She took an orange sitting next to her and offered it to me. It is not your decision to make. Her voice changed to a more adult one, but still not appropriate for a woman her age. It is my life, you fucking bitch. She lost her smile. You know, Milos, all this goes far back. You have no power over this. You will come. She yelled that word, will, like yelled it at me. I stepped back ready to knock her the fuck out. She got up. I will fight you people. I'll call police. I will. You can't do anything. She cut me off. Who do you think I am? You think the police can help you? You think your friends can help? What the fuck are you, a cult? You want me as a sacrifice? She started laughing. She laughed while never closing her eyes, never taking them off of me. You silly boy. Her voice switched to a child's version again. You have so much to learn about us. She stepped toward me. At that point, I honestly believed I was dealing with something other than a human being. I will admit, after I got home and cooled down and thought logically, I went back to my theory of it being a cult. But at that moment, right then, I believed I was encountering something else. I will ask for help from others then. I said, not knowing what I even meant. Church, maybe? She said it in a way like when a child is imitating your voice just to irritate you. You think your gods will save you? Ask your priest about me. Ask and then decide. I had no idea what the fuck she was talking about, but I decided I had enough. It was time to run. At the same moment, she stepped back, sat back down, and started looking at the orange. I ran back to the bike, got on it, and started pedaling like the devil himself was behind me. As I passed her, she started laughing uncontrollably, still looking at the orange. I got on the bus at the last moment. I was a wreck during the ride and when I got home. I called the guy from the police station, told him what happened, and he said he'd contact the local police and ask them to go check the trail out. I expect nothing. I spent the whole day thinking about what happened. How could she, them, get all my stuff that I am sure didn't exist anymore? Was that really the same cat I had 12 years ago? How? And what did she mean by ask my priest? So many questions and exactly zero fucking answers. I am mentally drained. I didn't tell my girlfriend about this because this would probably cause her to have a nervous breakdown. I might have one myself. I am a broken man tormented by something I am not familiar with. I am lost. Okay, guys, a lot has happened since the last time I checked in. A lot of you messaged me asking if I was doing okay. Some of you even went as far as sending me you phone numbers and really reaching out. I thank you for that. We have not encountered Rose since the last time. Also, we decided to move. I got a decent job on the south of the US, and we thought it'd be a good idea to get out of here. Any adult folks, holla at me. My father did go see the priest who baptized me, and the story actually become more convoluted, if you can call it that. Anyways, I got baptized in a church called Ostrog in Montenegro. Here is the pic of it. http://imgur.com, a 0vb5x.jpg. I don't believe in God in any kind of way, but this church is amazing. It was built a long time ago. When the Turkish Empire came to take over, people took it stone by stone and moved it up in the mountain where the Turks couldn't reach it. It is a magnificent building. Many people of different religions, including Muslims and Buddhists, come to that church in search of a spiritual help. That is the only place I ever felt something more than just my non-believer reality. So when I was 6, my dad decided to baptize me there. Neither of my parents are particularly religious, but my dad follows traditions, and baptizing kids is one of them. He decided that baptism should be performed at the most famous church in Balkans, Ostrog. You had to schedule it, and demand was so high that I was going to do it with other kids as a part of a group baptism. When we arrived there and disappointment awaited, at least for my dad, I couldn't give any less fucks. At the entrance of the church, the priest stopped me. You can't go in. He physically stopped me with his hand. Priests in our country wear long black robes and rock-long beards. So I was standing there being held by this Batman-looking dude. My dad jumped in front of me and asked what the problem was. "You, my child," talking to my dad, "I know you. I baptized you. I can tell." He did baptize him 20 years ago or so. "But your son, he cannot go in here." "And why is that?" my dad asked, shocked. "I can't really tell you, but it is better for us all if he went elsewhere." "But why?" "Son, please leave. But remember this, don't dare not baptizing him. You have to." "I don't understand." "Nor will you ever. Just do it." So my dad took my hand and walked away, not knowing what in the fuck was going on. On our way home, he was trying to figure out what happened. He thought that maybe I messed something up, like peed behind the church or something, which sounded like my kind of thing, but I didn't do it. When we got home, we got a phone call. It was from that priest. He wanted us to come back right away. It was a 35-minute ride back. My dad and I were more confused than ever. We arrived at the church and all the previous baptisms had been performed already. It was only 3 of us there. "I decided to baptize your son despite—" "Despite what?" my dad asked curiously. "I could not tell you, but it is important we do this fast." So we did. I walked in a circle and he went on with his prayers, spraying holy water on me. I remember getting bored as hell right before he finally finished. He told us to go away and not to come back unless something out of the ordinary happened to me. My dad was just glad we got it done. That was 20 years ago. My dad went back there a few days ago. Priest was still alive, although retired. He still lived on the church grounds. It took some talking into and donations for him to speak up. I got baptized on February 13th, 1992. On the night before my baptism, priest was handling his sheep. Back in the day, priests raised sheep and cows and lived mostly off of that, when he saw a figure in the dark. It was strange for someone to stand there that late at night, especially because visits were over and all the clerical staff was already in their designated housing. "Hey, who is that?" priest yelled. "Come, Father," woman's voice spoke calmly. Priest explained that from time to time, he'd get visits from desperate people, begging for blessing or shelter. So he went ahead to see what the woman wanted. He said that when he came there, he saw a woman in white, standing, not moving. She was standing among sheep, but they formed a circle around her, almost like a safe distance. Priest claims that he immediately felt something unholy. "What do you want?" he asked in a defensive, aggressive voice. At that point, he knew it wasn't a peaceful visitor he was talking to. Tomorrow you will encounter a boy. just like any other. His name will be Milos. You won't baptize him. Priest told my father that he performed several exorcisms before, but he was never actually scared. This time he felt unsafe. You and your kind have no place on this holy ground. My kind, father, what would that be? You, demons? His voice was cracking in fear. She laughed. Demons? I realize you're a man of cloth, but believing in demons? That takes a lot of faith, father. I want you to leave now. Listen to me, you pity priest. I know who you are. I know what you think. I know you feel my strength. Deny my request, and you'll never sleep in peace again. Then, Dom, then she left. Rest of the story, you know. He refused to baptize me, then he changed his mind. Apparently, he told my dad that he'd rather be tormented by an unholy spirit than deny God's child a chance to connect to Jesus. He also said that he has been paying for it since the day he baptized me. Every single night for 2 weeks after he baptized me, he has been seeing a woman in white appear on his window. She'd just stand there looking at him with hand tilted. No smile, though, but only a face of anger. He'd say many prayers, but it didn't seem to affect her. Then his sheep started dying. There were no wolf marks, no sign of force, just laying dead. Finally, number of exorcisms skyrocketed. He claims that this was a direct consequence of him disobeying woman's orders. He even showed an exorcism videotape they started filming in the chapel in the mid-90s to my dad. My dad says it was unreal. Apparently, a 13-year-old girl came in the chapel with her mom. Her mom was sobbing in tears, begging for help. Priest started performing his ritual when the little girl started throwing stuff around. Priest called 2 young guys who came in to pray that day and asked them to hold her. She kept walking in circles with 2 grown men holding her. And right before she fell to her knees, she said, "You shouldn't have done it, Father." She was cured. My dad had more than enough of information thrown at him, but he wanted to know what this woman was. Priest said that he originally thought it was a demon, but a lack of prayer efficiency and her freedom of behavior on the holy ground was concerning. He then thought it was some sort of a cult, witchcraft maybe. The problem is, she has been visiting him on February 13th every year. All the livestock he'd have would die on that day. Any sick person coming for help to the church that day would get worse. Number of possessed people would skyrocket abnormally on the 13th. And at the end of the day, she'd come to the window no matter where he was. He tried talking to her many times, asking who she was. She never responded. She never aged. Priest was finally broken down to the point where he quit. He remained living at the grounds, but he couldn't do his job anymore. He lost faith. He claimed that the gods should have protected him. My dad says he may be mentally unstable at this point. He was mentioning something about Marana, whatever that meant. It appears to be a goddess of death in some cultures, but I really think this man has gone mad. I think that this whole story was jabber of an old man gone senile. Goddesses? Demons? Hardly. That would be the disappointing story of my baptism. I have not had any encounters with any of them since the last time. I am moving away, hoping it helps. I also decided this. If I encounter them again, I am taking the orange. I can't go on like this forever. I just can't.